What if everything you think you are, your name, your memories, your sense of self, is just a mirage? What if the tale of your birth and the certainty of your death are simply a grand cosmic error? What if you were never actually born and you'll never truly die? Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But hear me out. This isn't just some abstract idea. It's a key that opens the door to who you really are. Infinite, timeless, and far beyond the grasp of the mind. The concept of being unborn doesn't imply rejecting the physical world or the body itself. Rather, it's about recognizing the illusion of separateness, the false belief that you are a finite individual navigating a vast external universe. As John Wheeler, a modern advocate of non-duality, expressed it, "You are not what you think you are. You are not a person striving for enlightenment. You are the awareness in which all things come and go." Think of waves crashing against the shore. Each one seems individual. One rises, another falls, and more follow. But when you observe closely, you realize there is no true separation between the wave and the ocean. Similarly, you are not a separate wave. You are the boundless ocean. No beginning, no end, nothing to lose. This isn't just a theory. It's something you can directly experience. In the next few moments, we'll uncover the layers of illusion, dive into the true nature of reality, and understand why the concept of you, the one you've clung to for so long, is the source of all suffering. And if you're still here, diving deep into these questions with me, let's make it official. Comment 100% down below to confirm that you've absorbed this part of the journey. It shows you're not just skimming, you're fully tuned in. Let's keep going. Let's step beyond the mind and into the truth. Because once you grasp it, you'll see. You were never born, and that realization is the most freeing discovery you can make. Take a moment to close your eyes and ask yourself, who am I? Your mind will likely respond quickly. I'm a parent, a teacher, an artist, someone who loves, who struggles, who dreams. But pause for a second. Go deeper. Who is the one that's making these statements? Who is it that claims these thoughts as mine? From the moment we're born, we're conditioned to believe in a separate self, a me that exists apart from everything else. We're taught to think this self has clear boundaries, starting at our skin and extending to the world beyond. And with each thought, each feeling, each action, we strengthen this illusion. But have you ever really questioned it? Imagine holding a cup of water. It's easy to believe the water is distinct from the ocean. But when you pour it back, where does it go? Can you identify the exact moment it stops being cup water and becomes part of the ocean? The same idea applies to the self. What we perceive as me, a collection of thoughts, memories, sensations, seems separate. But in reality, it has always been part of something vast and boundless. We're so deeply attached to this notion of a separate self that we spend our lives protecting it, nurturing it, and fearing its loss. This is my body, my mind, my life. But is it really? Your body is in a constant state of flux. Cells die, regenerate, and even your organs and brain undergo changes over time. The body you have now isn't the same as the one you had a decade ago. So how can you truly say this body is you? And what about your thoughts? They come and go in an instant. One moment, you feel joy. The next, sorrow. One day, you're certain about something. The next, you've completely changed your mind. If thoughts are always in motion, how can they define who you are? Now, imagine a thought arises. I am afraid. Where does this fear reside? In your mind? Your body? Or is it just a temporary feeling, like a cloud passing across the sky? When you stop identifying with that thought, something profound happens. It loses its grip. As John Wheeler put it, the person you think you are, the limited, struggling individual, is just a concept, a narrative you've created from memories and projections. But who you truly are is beyond all of this. Your true essence is like the space in a room. It remains unchanged regardless of what you place within it: a chair, a table, people, or events. They all come and go, but the space stays the same, unaffected. You are that space. You are the awareness where all experiences rise and fall. As you begin to see through the illusion of the self, something remarkable happens. You let go of the identities that say, I am this, or I am that. You come to understand that your true nature is boundless, infinite, and free. The illusion of the self is not something to fight against. It's merely a misunderstanding. And once you see beyond it, the world will unfold in ways you never thought possible. Take a deep breath. Relax and remember, you are not the wave. You are the ocean. As we delve deeper into the nature of control, it becomes apparent that our desire to dominate our experiences is often driven by fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of losing what we have, and fear of not having influence over our own lives. Paradoxically, this urge to control only increases our anxiety and pain. We find ourselves trapped in an endless loop, desperately trying to shape the world around us, only to realize that control is but an illusion. Our minds, constantly churning, create the illusion of mastery. We convince ourselves that our thoughts, decisions, and actions are entirely within our grasp. However, when we begin to observe ourselves more consciously, we recognize that much of our behavior is shaped by unconscious patterns. These patterns, formed by past experiences, societal expectations, and our own self-imposed restrictions, influence us far more than we realize. The more we try to control them, the more we push against the natural flow of life. The idea of surrender can feel counterproductive, especially in a society that values control and achievement. But surrender is not about giving up or passively accepting whatever comes our way. It is about releasing the constant need to micromanage every aspect of our existence and trusting that life will unfold as it is meant to. In surrender, we discover genuine freedom. To surrender is not to be defeated. It is to recognize that there is something greater than our individual will at work. When we surrender, we free ourselves to embrace the present moment, unburdened by the fear-driven compulsion to manipulate our experiences. This act of release is not a sign of indifference, but a profound acceptance of the unpredictability of life, with all its complexities and unknowns. When we stop clinging to the need for control, we experience a deep sense of freedom. The inner tension that once held us tight begins to fade, and the mind grows quieter. The vice-like grip we once had on our lives loosens, and we find ourselves able to breathe more easily. In the space created by this release, we allow ourselves simply to be, to exist, without the constant pressure to prove, manage, or dominate. This liberation is not something we gain externally. It arises from within. It is the freedom from the relentless noise of the mind, from the weight of always needing to be in charge. we come to understand that, in truth, we were never really in control. The universe, or life itself, flows according to its own intelligence, and our task is to align with that flow, not to fight against it. As we let go of our grip on control, we also open ourselves to the unknown. Life is inherently uncertain, and our desire to control it often arises from our discomfort with this uncertainty. Yet, it is within the unknown that we experience the most profound growth and transformation. The unknown is where new possibilities emerge, where fresh experiences, insights, and opportunities arise. To be open to life means to welcome its unpredictability. It is to step into each moment with curiosity and awe, rather than fear and resistance. When we stop trying to predict and control every possible outcome, we become more attuned to the magic of life. We learn to trust that whatever happens is exactly what we need to experience in that moment. The tension between control and surrender is a constant part of the human experience. We often find ourselves swinging between the two, sometimes gripping tightly, and other times releasing everything. Both control and surrender have their place, but the key lies in finding a balance. Too much control creates anxiety and rigidity, while too much surrender can lead to passivity and inaction. The interplay between control and surrender is a continuous process, a delicate balancing act. At times, we must take decisive action and steer our lives in a particular direction. At other times, we must loosen our grip and trust the unfolding of events. Through this dance, we learn to move through life with grace, wisdom, and an open heart. As we continue to explore the themes of control and surrender, we inevitably arrive at a deeper question. Who are we, really? Is the I that clings to control the same as our truest self? Or is it merely a mask shaped by experience, fear, and social conditioning? At the heart of this inquiry lies a profound inner conflict. From the moment we enter the world, we begin constructing a sense of identity. Our names, backgrounds, cultures, and experiences all contribute to the image we call self. Over time, we reinforce this image with memories, thoughts, and beliefs, turning it into a personal narrative that feels fixed and real. But when we look more closely, we discover that this self is not as solid as it appears. It is a fluid, shifting construct, a story we've learned to repeat. The ego, that persistent voice inside that demands control, arises from this constructed identity. It insists that we are separate from others, that we must defend our roles, and that our worth is tied to performance and approval. It thrives on comparison, on striving, on the illusion of needing to be someone. But what happens when we pause and question that voice? What if we see through its facade? In moments of quiet awareness, we begin to realize that the ego is not our true self. It is a stream of thoughts and reactive patterns, impermanent and ever-changing. It is not the core of who we are, but a mental framework designed to navigate the world. And when we step back and observe it, we find it is no more real than a passing cloud in an open sky. As we strip away the layers of ego, we draw closer to something deeper, an unchanging awareness that exists beneath identity. This true self is not defined by memory, name, or form. It is spacious, formless, and timeless, the silent witness to all that arises and falls away. When we begin to identify with this deeper awareness, something shifts. The illusion of separation dissolves, and we recognize ourselves as part of a larger whole. In that recognition, the urge to control begins to fade. There is no longer a need to defend or manipulate life, for we see that life is not separate from what we are. It moves through us. Living from this deeper awareness transforms our relationship with the present moment. No longer driven by the urge to grasp, to fix, or to control, we begin to simply be. The present is no longer a means to an end, but the place where life truly happens. We stop chasing outcomes and instead rest in the clarity of what is, here and now. This freedom is not about apathy or detachment. It is a vibrant aliveness rooted in acceptance. We engage with life not from a place of fear or control, but from openness and trust. We become available to experience, not in fragments, but in wholeness. And in this space, we discover a peace that does not depend on external circumstances. The desire for control stems from the ego's belief that it is separate, small, and threatened. Surrender, by contrast, arises from the recognition that we are part of something greater, something we cannot grasp with the mind, but can sense with the heart. When we surrender, we are not giving up. We are remembering who we are beyond the mask. This surrender is not passive. It is deeply active. It is the choice to release resistance and move with the current of life, rather than against it. It is the quiet strength of yielding, the wisdom of not knowing. In surrender, we reconnect with the true self, not as a fixed identity, but as the open space in which all things unfold. When we let go of the compulsion to control and begin to trust the rhythm of life, we enter into alignment with something vast and intelligent. Life is no longer a series of problems to solve, but a movement to join. We flow with it rather than fight against it. This alignment does not mean that challenges disappear. It means we meet them with presence instead of resistance. We accept uncertainty not as a threat, but as a doorway. And in doing so, we find not just peace, but a profound sense of meaning. The journey is not about erasing the ego, but seeing through it. It is about remembering what was always there beneath the noise, the still, silent, aware presence that does not need to control, because it already is. Though surrender is central to awakening, the mind still has its rightful place. When attuned to our deeper nature, the mind becomes a vessel for clarity, insight, and discernment. But left in the hands of the ego, it turns chaotic, generating noise, judgment, and restless desire that pull us away from the stillness of now. The essential task is learning to recognize which voice is speaking. The ego demands, I need, I want, I must control. It's loud, restless, and future-bound. In contrast, the voice of the true self is quiet and grounded. It simply says, I am. It does not strive. It knows. It is not anxious. It is present. Through meditation, stillness, and self-inquiry, we train the mind to rest, not as an enemy to silence, but as its servant. The mind becomes transparent, a mirror reflecting truth rather than projecting illusions. It shifts from being a master of chaos to a tool for awareness. To surrender does not mean to retreat from life or relinquish dreams. It is not inertia. Rather, it is the release of attachment, the letting go of the compulsion to control outcomes. We act not with force, but with trust. Surrender allows us to move from a deeper knowing. We stop trying to push life into shape and begin to respond to it with clarity. Action becomes more precise, less burdened. We're no longer racing towards something imagined. We're present with what is, and our path unfolds step by step. Surrender isn't the absence of effort, it's the absence of struggle. We can still create, build, and strive, but from a place of inner stillness, not fear. When effort is free from the ego's grasp, it becomes fluid. Our actions are guided, not forced. This harmony, where doing flows from being, is the heart of creativity and purpose. When we release the demand for a specific outcome, inspiration returns. We create not to prove or achieve, but to express what's already whole within us. One of the deepest invitations of surrender is to make peace with uncertainty. The ego fears the unknown. It clings to plans, forecasts, and guarantees. But life is not a puzzle to be solved in advance. It's a mystery to be lived in real time. Embracing the unknown means walking forward without needing every answer. It means trusting what we cannot yet see. In that vulnerability lies real power, the power to meet life as it comes, without resistance or control. We trade certainty for possibility. We find liberation in the very space the ego once feared. There is a quiet, luminous beauty in letting go. When we release the need to orchestrate everything, we fall into the rhythm of what already is. Life becomes less of a battlefield, more of a dance. Letting go is not loss, it is return. Return to clarity, to peace, to the richness of the present moment. In surrender, we discover a deeper kind of strength, the strength to be open, to trust, and to rest in our own being. Trust is the foundation of surrender, not blind faith, but a deep, embodied knowing that life is holding us, even when we don't understand how. We trust that every experience, whether joyful or painful, is part of our unfolding. This trust frees us. It allows us to stop gripping the reins and start listening more deeply. We stop reacting and start responding. Trust gives us the courage to be guided by something greater than the ego's narrow view. The journey of surrender is the journey of awakening. It is the path of becoming conscious, of seeing through the illusion of separateness and aligning with what is real. Awareness becomes our compass, and grace our constant companion. Grace is not earned. It is received in the moments we stop striving. It flows through us when we are fully present, humble, and open. In grace, we remember. We are not the source of life, but a channel through which it flows. Ultimately, surrender is not a conclusion. It's a beginning. The beginning of a different way of living. One that is grounded in truth, not illusion, in presence, not projection. When we release the urge to control, we awaken to a deeper freedom, a freedom to live, to love, to experience, unburdened by fear or the need to grasp. We meet life as it is and discover that this is more than enough. We don't give up, we give in. And in that giving, we find everything we were seeking. If you're ready to unlock even deeper truths about the universe, click on the next video. Your journey is just beginning.